Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Green's Gridiron Exchange. I'm Coach Green. We've been away for a while, but we're back, and I'm bringing in my host. Here, turn this off. Bringing in my host, co-host. Everybody's back, man. So I'm glad to see that everybody's doing well. I know we had the storm. We had a couple of games that was pushed back. We had a couple of things that was going on that caused us to kind of take a break in the action. But we're back. Little technical difficulties. But welcome in Andy, of course, and my boy Royce Willer. How you fellas tonight?
Oh, doing good, man. Got the internet back all week, so just glad that everything's good from the storm. Got some football back to normal, seems like. Um, and some exciting football this last couple of weeks that we haven't gotten a chance to talk about. So everything's been good. I know you and Andy got a chance to see that CCC St. Francis. I'm not gonna say massacre, but
So, I
was,
say,
there's a little WWF action, WWE action. What? What did you guys see on the sideline as far as that game?
I'll let you, Andy.
I think the thing that stood out to me right before anything, before the first snap, was the size. I mean, the offensive line for St. Francis Academy. I mean, my goodness, I thought that was a college offensive line. I mean, those dudes walked up. I mean, that was 6'5", 300 plus across, easy. Like they might have been maybe 320, 330 plus each. So that's why I kind of was looking at Green like it's gonna be a long night. Just because they're gonna move bodies. I mean, if anything else, and they got power four kids all over the place. I mean, I talked to some of their kids after the game, and I mean, if you just go on 24/7 Sports, I mean, look up Maryland 2025, 2026. I mean, they have Zion Ely. He's a 5-star. I think he's like the number one prospect of the 2026 class in the country. So, I mean, it kind of tells you what kind of talent this team has. Yeah. And, I mean, CCC did their best to hold their own. I mean, you're playing back-to-back weeks against pretty top-tier teams. Venice, obviously, in the conversation as a national team. And then St. Francis, undoubtedly. Like, to me, for my liking, I mean, I know IMG probably would like to say something, but I know they're playing them this week. It's going to be a heck of a game. I mean, those teams, if anything else, they're at least even, but St. Francis is loaded.
Right. Didn't even play everybody. Didn't even play the top guy. Well, I believe the top guy running back didn't play, right?
I couldn't tell. If they have someone better at running back, that's scary.
Yeah, that was the big thing when I was watching on the Flow Sports out there. It was like the top guy. He was sitting out. They don't know if it was in anticipation of next week, but that wasn't even their top back. So that was it was quite a showing. I salute the Coach Harvey for going out and trying to make that happen and challenging his team like that. What about you, Green? What did you see? Did you see anything as far as the Pinellas County side of the ball that was that kind of stood out as far as maybe being able to match up with St. Francis?
As you know, as Andy alluded to, just up front, both sides of the ball was where they won the battle. I think they were even as far as the skill position. But when you look at the linemen not making the holes for Sean Kono, not being able to get outside because of the speed, they matched him speed for speed. All around, it was just CCC would have really had to be strategic in how they moved the ball, and I think with being beat up front and being match skill for skill, it was just one of them games where CCC would have had to have played perfect to beat them. And after the first two series, me and Andy kind of like he said, we said it was going to be a long game because it was 13-0 like right off the bat. Was at the punt, and they, St. Francis got the ball. They went down and scored. CCC got the ball, punt. They got the ball back and scored again, and it was like 13-0 before they even blinked. And so it was like, man, I've seen them get down and be in the hole before, but this was a different hole. This hole was
say that.
Yeah, this hole is going to take a lot of dirt to be filled in to help them to get out of it. So I just think that overall, St. Francis was, had played tougher opponents, and CCC was just another team that was in their way, and it showed on Friday night. So
right, definitely, man. I know that go ahead and, well, of course, that's still that's our top team. We're going to go ahead and go into our media top 10, and we still agree CCC is number one right now. It's sitting at 7-2. I love what Calvary has been doing. I think we all could agree Calvary has been, they've gotten the experience. They've really grown as a team, and things have turned around for them at Calvary. I mean, the last 4 games they are 4-0, so that's very big for Calvary and their brand, because they are a tough team. They didn't complain. They didn't do anything. They've done nothing but bounce back. St. Pete sitting at 7-2. Are you guys surprised at St. Pete 7-2? Did you expect St. Pete to be 7-2? That was kind of a question I had in my head. Like, I love St. Pete. They've been a good team the last couple of years. Did you guys expect them to be sitting at 7-2? Honestly.
Well, the first offs I keep the PHU one. I always think like no Jones, no win. Like, I mean, because that's pretty much. And it's crazy to think one person does mean that much, but for them, I think that stands pretty true. And then, I mean, losing to Calvary, kind of thought that would be tight. I mean, it was tight. I mean, 33-28 is, it's pretty tight. Outside, I mean, you can only get, 3 points, 4 points closer, like, and when you're talking about the score. So, I mean, really, that was anyone's game. So, no, not overly. I mean, obviously the PHU game, if they have Jones, I mean, they didn't, so it's all woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I guess just thinking, out loud with that game, if they had them, I think we're talking about 8-1, potentially 9-1, but we're talking 7-2. So, God, yeah. I don't think I'm surprised based on what we know.
What about you, Brent?
I would say I beg to differ. After watching them play against Lakewood, of course, and Lakewood being in the red zone a few times and not scoring, and just knowing that Jeff was the only person that really made a difference in that game, I didn't think that he would be able to continue to carry the team throughout the year, just on his shoulders alone. And then not only that, but just looking at the fact that coming into the year, everyone knew that the MO was to stop Jeff Jones. But because of the type of athlete he is, he was able to prove the doubt is wrong and continuously go out each game and increasingly make that team better. But if you would ask me, would they have been 7-2 at this point, I would have probably said no. I would have thought somewhere around maybe 500, 5-5, just because of the wear and tear on Jeff Jones, and knowing that without him, he would have, the team definitely takes a huge step back. So that would have been my perspective. But of course, he stayed healthy. He has been the one that makes the team go, and they're sitting at 7-2 at a good spot and possibly getting into the playoffs and probably making a good run.
Yeah, man, I think that it does say a lot, because I think that one of the things that I was watching for with Jeff Jones was, is he going to be able to stay healthy? And I mean, he's done it for 3 seasons straight. No real injuries, no nothing. Like, he's literally just showed up every single opportunity he's had and giving his best nonstop. So I definitely, when I tell people, man, might be one of the top 5 best players in history, those are the things you have to think about. I mean, he put it on his shoulders nonstop, literally nonstop. No injuries, no anything, and led his team pretty much to 5 points from being right now 8-1. And suspension for possibly being 9-0. So I mean that says a lot, you know what I'm saying? So when you think about even this player of the year race that we're gonna talk about, when we talking about him and Shawnee, I think about just their careers, period. And you got to give it to Jeff. The last 3 years, he's been dynamic, nonstop. And he's lifted. He's pretty much been everything for St. Pete. So that's major. And then we got Clearwater sitting at 7-3. Of course, their last 3 games, we kind of knew they were going to win. Thing about Clearwater is, I mean, minimum 40 points per game. The last couple games, season over, they are the district champs. So, I mean, it's over. Jalen White and they did their thing. Do you guys believe that they are going to be playoff ready? Would it be a shocker to you if I mean, I'm pretty sure they won't have too much competition round 1. But what do you guys think they're playoff ready?
Oh, I mean, I think dating back to I think when we had our show and we were talking about them in Largo, that game, I think that was the game I said, this is it. This will tell the season for them, because I think if they lost that game, I don't think they play with this confidence and swagger that they have down the stretch. Because I think both teams have kind of gone in different trajectories since then. I think Largo's kind of, after that, kind of first half of the season where we were impressed with what the Packers have done, they've kind of dropped off a little bit. And Clearwater went the other way. They've been rolling. So, when I got to see him, was the most unpleasant experience for a high school football game, I think, ever. Just seeing what they got. I mean, they are talented. They are talented. I mean, their quarterback is Jalen. I liked what he was doing. There was a nice deep ball. Nice big line. Good talent at the skill position. I mean, there's the things I liked about him before the season were all on full display against River Ridge, and they jumped all over the Royal Knights. And I think the way they are playing right now, they are going to be a tough matchup for anyone in the first couple rounds. I think it's when you get to that region final round, I mean, that's when you face somebody that's going to be, I mean, you're talking, if you get out of that, you're looking at being a state title contending team. I mean, they will likely run into somebody that's going to be pretty formidable. But I'd say these first couple rounds, they definitely have a shot to win not just 1, but 2 games.
Definitely. What say you? Did you spoke on Clearwater already? Green up.
Actually, I was just gonna say that they were a team that when the season first started, season rankings, I had them pretty high. And then the season went on. They kind of, I want to say it was the caliber of teams that they played early, had some tough early tests. The real surprising game was, like we spoke about, I had them pegged to beat Lakewood, and they ended up losing that game. And it kind of made me think twice about what type of team Clearwater was. But then as they've gone on this run, this is the team that I thought that they could be and should have been early on. And sometimes it just takes a team to go through these tough games, lose some, build a little, maturity and build some, some whatever they need, camaraderie within the team to kind of really wake themselves up. And I guess that's what they've done. They realized that they were too talented of a team. Their record didn't indicate the type of team that they could be. And I think they finally realized that the seniors may have had a senior meeting or something and came to, had a come to Jesus meeting and got the boat turned around. And did, because you guys make me look like I don't know what I'm talking about when, you guys start off and you don't, you're not playing to your capability. So I'm glad that they right the ship and they're on the right track to be successful. So hats off to Clearwater.
All right. We got number 5, P Park, coming in 5-3, and this is the thing about P Park. I want to say with the 5 and 6 spot, Largo beat P Park, correct?
Yes.
So what made you guys put? I was like, I got to ask you guys, man. What made you guys put Largo below P Park in this instance? Because I like P Park. I just think last 4 games they're 2-2. They lost to Largo in Northeast. And who was it?
Is that their last 2 losses? Because I would have to mix Manatee in there somewhere.
Yeah, it lost Manatee, Largo, and Northeast. So, what makes why you guys like them over Largo?
Well, I think it goes back to how they're playing as of late. I mean, Largo early on, if we compared them based on that, at that time, over P Park for sure, just based on the way they were playing. I think the Packers have simmered down. P Park then started to play better. It's hard for me to just say a head-to-head just tells me everything. I think I've seen Clearwater below teams that they've lost to during the season. So to me, that I think your base is how are you playing. And that's where I try to gauge more of like where you're at kind of hot streak wise. In fairness, neither team at this point, I don't think is playing really like too much better than the other. But if I had to like gauge who they've been playing, I'd have to give Pinellas Park the edge on difficulty. I was at that game where they played Manatee, and that's a really good Manatee team. I have them ranked in the top 25 in the state. Their quarterback is an Army commit, Andrew Heidel, but I tell people all the time, I think Army's getting an absolute steal of a quarterback. This kid is not your typical, he's not your triple option type kid. I think Army might need to look into installing some spread because this kid can throw the ball. I think he completed every pass he threw in that game against Pinellas Park. And, in my rambling here, I do believe they would do the same to Largo. I don't think it would be any different. So I just kind of give Pinellas Park more the edge. I know maybe you guys look at head-to-head a lot more, but I think it's more of how you've been playing as of late versus what.
It is. Definitely. And you're right. Largo just barely beat the East Lake team themselves. Last 4 games, they're 1-3. They're 1-3 the last 4 games. So it is based on what it was lately, and lately both of them have been great, but 1-3 the last 4 games is still in number 6. It might be give you a lot,
Right.
kind of based it off real quick. I watched both teams play, and just from a talent standpoint, I think Pinellas Park overall has more talent, and then are a little more. I got to be careful how I say this. The offensive play calling and the scheme call, I think, is a little more effective than what Largo presents. They beat Lakewood on that the punt that went through the legs. A talented Lakewood team.
Yeah.
Park, on the other hand, just because both of the field conditions, you can say both had to play on that field, and it was like I think Pinellas Park. Let's just put it like this: Pinellas Park could have played Lakewood 2 times over, and I think it would have probably been the same result. Let's just say it that way. So from that standpoint, from skill position wise, and how they use their players, and how the type of play that they have, to me, volumes over a little bit of they're a little bit more talented, I think, than Largo is. So that was my reasoning behind putting Pinellas Park at that 5 spot.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. Definitely wanted to ask that, but what you guys saying definitely makes sense. Wanted to make that just a little bit clear for the people who probably would say, because we got, before this 1-3, these last 4 games, Largo, like I said, I went to church one Sunday, man, and man, when I walked out, man, my phone was going crazy with Largo. People just saying that we were hating on Largo. I just want to make it clear that we do watch. We know what we're talking about. It, like you said, they were a bad snap away from being 4-4. Easy, you know what I'm saying? A bad snap from being 4-4, man. And we got number 7, Tarpon Springs. They're kind of facing the same dilemma. Last 4 games, 1-3. So this is a team that was 4-0. That is now 5-3. So they haven't been showing up like we thought. But the thing about Tarpon Springs, they were put together late. We expected a little bit of static, a little bit. We thought it might have been a little bit earlier, but we expected it to be a little bit. We've seen a slowdown as far as the backs, Renils and Triplet. Both of them have about 600 yards. A piece right now, which I think is very productive for Tarpon. Kavuklis has over 1,500 yards passing. He's number 1 right now in the county. So the potential is there. So what are you guys thinking about Tarpon right now, and what they have left? Because I don't know who they have left. I know they have Lakewood.
They got golf this week.
Oh yeah, they have golf. Which shouldn't be as much of a challenge as golf was last year. But what you guys think about do you think Lakewood has a chance against Tarpon?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. That'll be a good game. I think that. I mean, I wouldn't really give anyone like a crazy edge. I think it's. I think if there was any quote unquote betting lines, because there isn't, folks. But if there was, I think it's almost like even. I mean, these 2 teams, I think, are pretty close.
Right.
And yeah, they have been on a little bit of a skid, but taking a look at the lot, I mean, heck, look at the most recent one. I mean, Cardinal Mooney is a monster. Yeah, I mean, heck, I think St. Francis should have went and played somebody else, and then CCC should have played Mooney, because I heard from the folks that used to be the rivalry back in the day. CCC was the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Tarpon, I think will be fine. I think they just gotta, take care of business against golf, and then, you play Lakewood, and if you can win that, I think they'll get a postseason spot. They'll be in the postseason. If they win these last 2, I predict they'll be in the playoffs. They'll have a strong enough record, strong enough, with their wins. But I think if they lose both of them, they put themselves in big time jeopardy to not make it.
Right. And we got number 8 Lakewood, who needs to win the next 2 games to make the playoffs. So, of course, they got Osceola Kissimmee coming up, which we know is a challenge. But if they win that game, that just intensifies the Tarpon Springs game. And just thinking about that, I think that an intense game like that, I give it to Lakewood because I know Lakewood, man, them boys, they come out and fight, man. It's hard to beat Lakewood. It's hard to beat Lakewood, but number 8 Lakewood sitting at 4-4. They've had they're doing better than they were last year. Not as big of a challenge of a schedule, but I think that they've been able to put it together as a team. I think 4-4 doesn't speak on how good they are. What do you guys think about Lakewood and number 8?
Oh, I think the challenge this week against Kissimmee Osceola is going to be. I got to see them against Jones or Orlando Jones, and they got a Darion Coleman, who's a Miami commitment at quarterback, and I think he just threw like 7 touchdowns in the first half of a game. So, he's a dude, and they kind of they held him for about a half, like 3 quarters, and then he went off in the 4th quarter, and Jones had to win in overtime. And Jones is pretty dang good. I mean, I'll just put it at that. Lakewood, I mean, I think they just need to be ready for a heavy dose of the run game because that's what Osceola is going to do all night. They don't really throw the ball. I mean, if they can defend against the run, they'll have a chance. If they cannot stop their run game, yeah, I mean, it's like what I said to Green on Friday night. It's going to be a long night.
I agree that they have a daunting task in front of them. I've got an opportunity to watch that game as well, that Orlando Jones and them, just to kind of see what type of team Osceola Kissimmee was. I know they have the 2 linebackers, both D1 commit linebackers. One was committed to the Melendez kid. He was
sure.
Miami. Now I think he committed to Auburn. And then they have the Robert Rob's guy. He's a FAU commit, number 21. And then of course they're loaded with talent. I think the running back Swint is a UCF commit.
Correct. Yep.
And then I'm pretty sure some other linemen, big guys who had some offers, big time offers, there as well. So having to go to Osceola Kissimmee is already a challenge. I think it's 2.5-2-hour bus ride into somebody else's house, and then have to play, out in somebody else's backyard. So, like you said, Lakewood can definitely get it done. They had a lot of games this year that could have easily been wins, but last second fumble between the legs against Largo, 5 seconds. Jeff Jones score with no time left. To lose that game could have easily been 6-4. But we'll just have to see. That's why they play the game. These kids have to just go in there and do what they've been doing, coached as far as that's concerned, and make sure that they play not only for the school, but also representing the name on the back of the jersey.
Definitely, man. And coming in number 9 and number 10, we got Seminole and we got Osceola. Seminole, like I say every week, they I think the future's looking bright at Seminole. I got to see a little bit of Mason Stark. I got to watch some games of him. Great athlete, good size, does what he needs to do. Seminole, they're just not playing any type of schedule, which is always going to keep them, of course, probably at the bottom of the top 10. But they are, they're a decent team. They're a decent team. This week they are playing, Let's see. They're playing Indian Rocks Christian. That could be another game just like the one against North Side was last week. It could come out anyway because you do have you got Anderson Dumb running back there. So that could be one of those games. And then you got Osceola, who they're open for the upset. They played against St. Pete last week. I want to say Galish got hurt. Tank went in, got 3 interceptions. Jeff Jones, like you said, Green left. Jeff Jones right. Jeff Jones 200 yards. And that's pretty much what that was, man. Do you guys, anybody else that you could say would probably, you guys got anybody else that you would fit in them 9 or 10 spots?
No, I like those two there. And to Seminoles' point of playing like I guess it's a weaker schedule, but I think that pitcher back in the spring, I think it was the spring or maybe beginning of camp, Augie put something about like, I think you guys probably saw it, the numbers they had. I mean, it was low. I mean, what was it, like 20 kids or something total, you know? So I think they went independent and they did this. This is all by design. And this is something, right. This is what more programs gotta, you kind of see it before it happens, right? It's like a pass. It's like you're trying to throw somebody open. Well, Augie's trying to throw his team open and basically get them some wins. Because, yeah, I mean, could they play a tougher schedule? Sure. But with the numbers, the way they are, I mean, if you play all the other public schools over and over and over again, and you're going through that gauntlet, I mean, how long do the Warhawks last before they become in danger of not being able to honor like a game? So I think for what they did, love it for Augie and being able to rebuild that program, the pride, and you know, hopefully it encourages some kids that that didn't play this year to maybe play next year, and then they won't have to, you know, go this independent route. They can kind of get out. I think it kind of copies what Dunedin did a few years ago. I think Disney went
and Tarpon, copying what they do. So yeah, I love your perspective on it. I think that's a great perspective. What about you, Gary?
Yeah, I just think that the level of competition for me is what, you know, kept them in the top, you know, 10. But then, you know, you're saying how would they fare against, you know, i.e. Pinellas Park or Clearwater, you know, Calvary or CCC. I don't think they would come out on top. So instead of punishing them and you know, not putting them in at all, I think they deserve to be, you know, with, you know, taking the, you know, the situation like Andy just, you know, spoke about. Hats off to them because you still got to lace up the cleats and play the game. So to be 6-2, and not only 6-2, but you know, they have some guys that can you know, that can play ball. So hats off to Augie and those guys. And really, you know, what those guys are doing is putting some good stuff on film, you know, putting some good stats together, you know, and putting a good resume for colleges. It may not be, you know, the big Power 5 schools or, you know, but, you know, colleges will take that into consideration. And, you know, I know they have some good academic kids. So, you know, hopefully that, you know, work well for them on the recruiting side of the coin.
Right. Same thing with Osceola. Love what they're doing over there. Same thing, you know, they're going to always lace up whoever you put in front of them. You know, Osceola's not going to ever lay down. That's the thing you could say about them forever. Since we were playing, they're never going to lay down. They're always going to show up no matter what they have. And they didn't have the biggest numbers when we went out. They have a lot of JV players there with those varsity players. So they came out and they give their best effort every week, and to come out at 5-3, because like we say, this numbers thing is huge. Even with Largo, 5-3, not the most numbers, not what they're used to. With them coming out with these plus 500 records, I definitely think it says a lot about the coaching and the persistence and what they're really preaching over at these schools. And I think the coaches are doing a great job of keeping these kids intact and keeping these kids confident. So shout out to the 9 and 10 ranked team, Osceola. And so what we got next, of course, is our
hey, Royce and Green.
Yo.
I got a question for you. I guess it'd be a guess question because I'm kind of like, I know we're talking about the top 10 teams, but now we're at the end of the year. I know we still got a week, and I do not want to disparage anybody or say anything, bad. I guess I want to use it more of like we do it with every other sport, and I think it can always be done. But is there a team for you two? Like who is the team that you felt like entering the season had the most you had the most anticipation or hype for, and they've kind of been a letdown in a sense, and not to the work that the kids and the coaches, obviously everybody's working hard, so we understand that. But what team do you feel like has underachieved?
Lakewood for me.
Yeah.
I expected Lakewood to be top 5. I expected them to really I expected Lakewood to possibly I expected them to be probably about 6-2 at least right now. Like I say, 4-4 isn't bad, but if I could say one team who I expected to really run through the county and show off a little bit more, it would have been Lakewood.
Yeah, I concur. Just because with the season that they had last year, with only winning 2 games, and the word around town and the talk of the town was, that they had lost their luster, and that they wasn't the same as they were in past, and just those guys came in with a big chip. At least you would have thought that was the the MO for the season, and they showed up in the spring, and looked good, and then the first game, and what's even more surprising is the team that they handled, which is Palmetto. The last time I checked, that team was undefeated, and so it's just again, when you think about the talent that comes through there, and against what they needed to face or what they have to face, you would think that Lakewood would always come out on top. So that's what I'm thinking. From that question, that Lakewood really is the team that I thought would have been, like you said, at least 6-2, at least 6-2.
All right. I just had to throw that out there. I kind of was like, I think I agree. I guess maybe East Lake floats through my head because of what I saw over the summer. Not so much like I thought they were going to be like an 8 or 9 or 7 win team, but I thought they'd get to like 500. I mean, I didn't expect. What do they got? 1 win, I think. They only got the 1 win. Yeah. I think that to me is the most surprising.
That's definitely up there. That 1 win is definitely very shocking. Very shocking, man. And that's another team who they keep their heads up though. They show up, there complain. They show up every week, man. So shout out to East Lake too. So right now we're at our Player of the Year candidates. We got our usual suspects up there, Mr. Newton, who both of these guys are number 1 and number 2 guys. They're not having as big of seasons as they were last year. But we have to look at their body of work, what they've done. Both of them, Mr. Newton, not as big, doesn't have that big talent base around him like he did last year, even as far as receivers, does have Kono. But coming in with 588 yards, was close to 1,000 at this point in the season last year. I want to say he had a little bit more as far as throwing as well. But his team is number 1 right now. Despite St. Francis, I think the Venice game was very major for him. He did, he showed up. And against Clearwater, he passed for 100, ran for 100 against both of those teams. And he beat Berkeley Prep as well. So I think his body of work this season keeps him at number one. But, of course, you got Jeff Jones, who has been spectacular. Thought maybe he could pass for 1,000 this year, didn't get there. But, of course, ran for over 1,000. We got Noel Brown, who came in just the last couple of games on a tear. 91 tackles, 15 sacks, kind of jumped in there. Jalen White was very close to jumping in there as well, but didn't quite get in there. But we definitely did get Noel Brown in there. And then we got Mekhi Johnson, who's just been on a tear receiver as well. 32 receptions, 713 yards. He's pretty much replaced Josh Robinson as the top receiver for the county, kind of somebody who we knew coming in would be a big target for Cavouclis, seeing that they were at CAI last year. And we've seen Johnson's potential since he was a freshman at Tarpon. Then you got Mason Stark, who is mixing it up. I mean, if you could give me a guy, and this is the thing I thought about, could he play on any team? If you could give me a guy who's going to give me 80 to 90 yards rushing, 50 yards receiving, and 50% chance to have an interception every game, I think he could probably line up and play for anybody. I've seen his size on film, and I think he's a good player. I really, really like him, and I think he could play for any team in the county. But that's what he's bringing. I mean, literally 50% chance to get an interception every game, 40 to 50 yards receiving, and 100 yards rushing. And then you got Tank Thomas with 10 sacks, 62 tackles. Showed up big pretty much all season. I mean, but over his career, 30 sacks, over 200 tackles at defensive end, and a guy who just reached 200 pounds. So he's somebody who we love as well. What do you guys think about these candidates? Been getting some smoke about Walter Flanoy, but he didn't have any stats last week, so I don't know if he's hurt or he didn't play. I don't know what's going on. But what do you guys think about these player of the year candidates?
I like the group. One team I'm noticing that's high up on our they're the second team. I didn't see anyone for them, but maybe I can throw a name because I saw the clip against Tampa Catholic, and it looks like he had the game tying. I know his stats may not be speaking to exactly like mind-blowing numbers, but just a real, in terms of dark horse candidate just because of his play of late. But I think Austin Hose kind of started to really turn up these last, I want to say 3 games or so. Kind of was quiet early on, but I think him and Keone Basil weren't really on the same page. And then it seems like against some really good competition like Berkeley Prep and Tampa Catholic, and they went up to Trinity Catholic and beat them soundly. I mean, he's been putting up, I want to say, around 100 yards like every game. And I agree with the Mekhi Johnson is, you look at him athletically, UConn commit, he's been the best receiver. But I think Austin's been kind of not too far behind as of late. I would definitely say his start was very slow, but against better competition the last few weeks, I think he's been pretty impressive based on what I've seen numbers wise.
Right. I definitely, I agree. He's definitely been a big part of why Calvary's had their success. Like I say, 4 of the last 4 games. What about you, Green?
Yeah, I definitely like the group. The only question that I would have is sort of like what happened last year when some of the kids, let's say, don't make the playoffs versus some kids who continue to pad stats or put, stats on. Does that eliminate them? You know what I'm saying? That's number one. And then number 2, what would a kid like Mason Stark have to do to basically solidify? Because with the numbers and with what he's done, I mean, I don't think nobody could come close to that, like for a single player. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like offensively and defensively, the numbers that he's put up kind of outweighs a single player position guy. You know what I'm saying? So like an overall player of the year would like go to someone like that. You know what I'm saying? Like a Travis Hunter versus just a Cam Ward. You see the difference of why, you know, maybe he would get the Heisman because he's doing it on both ends of the field. And I'm just looking at it from, does he get that knock because of the competition that he's playing against? Will that be a determining factor to say those numbers stand out because of the competition that he's played against? You know what I'm saying? And keep him back versus him just being an athlete and making plays. Like if he was on, you know, a Gibbs or a Lakewood, would he have those same numbers? So that's the only thing that, you know, kind of would make me feel like, man, this kid is defied the odds each week, and it probably won't benefit him from making, you know, doing all of this stuff, because we may think, or we may have to, and thank God it may not come down to us because we do a good job of spreading it out and letting people vote around the county. But I just wouldn't want that to be a determining factor because they look at the competition that he played versus what he did as an individual person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that would be the only question and hang up that I may have is, number one, some kids are going to continue to play if they go to the postseason and continue to put stats on the sheet, while other kids may not make it, like i.e. Seminole. If they're independent and they don't have a postseason, his stats are going to stop after that 10th game, where other kids, Jeff Jones, Shawnee, maybe even the quarterback, the receiver, Makai Johnson, those stats are going to continue to build, and we're going to look at it and say, look at what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, man, all of them are deserving, and they all could have a good argument. If we was to interview each one of them individually and ask, why do we think they should deserve the player of the year, they would probably all give us real solid, valid reasons why they should and why they're deserving and why they should get it. I wish we can give it to all of them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you know, it's gonna be close, man. It's definitely gonna be close, because the other guys, like you just said, their numbers aren't where they were from previous years. So can we award guys for falling back? You know what I'm saying? And then guys who exceeded our expectations say that they didn't play the caliber of talent and knock them for that. So it's definitely going to be a tight race. And so for all you guys that's listening, don't feel like you're out of the race, because right now it's anybody's award right now from my standards.
Right. So we got 10 minutes left. Let's run through the top 10 real quick. Let's see who they're playing. We got CCC versus Bogey. We'll go through this real quick. I like CCC. This is an opportunity for them to go ahead. This is that pad their stats game. This is an opportunity for them to do it. Not saying that Bogey won't bring it. Not saying that. This is an opportunity for a lot of the guys from Bogey to get some scholarships. You know what I'm saying? But I love CCC in this game. Who you guys like?
CCC for me.
Yeah, CCC. Though I don't want to create any bulletin board material for Bogey, because they might use it. Might be like, we're coming.
All right, okay. Calvary, I haven't seen the first Academy play. I'll give it to Andy because I'm pretty sure you've seen them. Have you seen them?
I haven't seen them, but they tag me in everything, and they do a great job social media wise. So I can't help but notice the things they are doing. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good Verse Academy team. Royals, I'm gonna take them. They got this Solomon Georges kid. He was at Leesburg last year. Led them to, I think they went 10-1 or 11-1. I mean, really good team, and they're
So
they're
Calvary has a
a
challenge
powerhouse
this week.
right now.
So Calvary has a challenge this week.
Oh yeah. I would probably. What's one of the game? I would put this on the Bishop Verot level. It might be even tougher than Bishop Verot.
Is this the team that beat Bishop Verot? It was another academy that they played. They had the top guys. Who was that? They were out of like the Naples area.
That was the First Baptist Academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
team.
Something.
Yeah, this team beat Edgewater and they beat Sanford Seminole.
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, man, they got to play them again. I'm missing this. I don't know.
But this team's better than that one too. I mean, they're better than that First Academy team.
Okay. I'll follow your lead, Andy, because I don't know anything about First Academy. So whatever you say.
We got number 3, St. Pete. They have a bye. They do have a game next week. We got number 4, Clearwater. The bye. They have their season's over, so they're gonna be stuck at number 4. P Park and Osceola. This might be a challenging game for P Park. Osceola's gonna come out hard, but no Gavin Galish. Most likely, I believe you said he hurt his shoulder. Yeah. But he might play his last game. I don't know. Osceola might have an opportunity to make the playoffs with this win. Is Osceola independent?
I believe so. I don't remember them being. I mean, I do believe recently they have been, but I don't think this year. But if they are, I mean, they put kind of a tough, for playing independent, they kind of put together a tougher schedule. I would have thought they'd probably put more teams they could beat. I'm gonna roll with P Park. I mean, based on what I got to see. I mean, I've just lucked into being able to see some Pinellas County teams here recently with Pinellas Park, Clearwater, CCC. So I really like what they did on the first drive. If they could play like that, every game, just they came like, guns a-blazing first drive. They went right down the field and scored on Manatee. And then the rest of the game, they did nothing. So, I mean, I like what they got, though. The Casanova. They got the running back. I mean, they got some dudes. So, and I got to see Osceola. If they don't have that Galish kid, it's going to be tough. So, P Park.
Yeah, P Park for me as well. I'm an alumni. So,
I like P Park at the end of the day. P Park, I know with this being, I just know their attitude, man. They're going to come out hard. They did lose a key player, I believe, Mr. Vega. But, with a lot of these guys being seniors, this being a game that's in Osceola, they're not far from each other. They know a lot of each other. I expect P Park to come out hard. Most likely, this probably have playoff implications anyway as far as getting there. So I expect P Park to come out hard. Number 6, Largo versus Northeast. Remember last season, that last play of the game. Javion McKenzie caught that touchdown then. I don't know who caught that, but I remember the last play of the game last season. It was like Largo's for the dog Northeast. And Northeast came out and beat them on that last play, boy. So
you're saying a little Chicago, Washington, Hail Mary?
Yeah, it wasn't quite like that, but it was kind of more embarrassing because I want to say he squeezed between 2 DBs and scored.
I couldn't believe when that happened. I was like,
man. So Northeast they coming out there to spoil some things. Man, listen, it wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if Northeast wins. It would not surprise me if Northeast wins, man. But I like Largo, but this is gonna be close. What you guys think?
I'm with you. I think Largo, but yeah. I definitely would not. Northeast is just a weird team. I mean, I saw them. I haven't seen them this year, but last year I saw them against Cardinal Gibbons out of Fort Lauderdale. Man, they played them so tight. I was like, man, they arguably the ball bounces a few more times their way, they win. I was telling some people the thing is they got the talent. It's like you can't put your finger on it. I don't want to go too hard on the coaches. It's like they're like just a few dudes away from being like really, pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And they could have easily been one of those teams that I thought like would have had a better season. Just how they played. Speaking to how they played last year against some of the tougher talent in the state. But I know, personally that there have been some extra added, but just some motivation for these last few games for Northeast. And I think they've took it upon themselves to say, we're gonna play the rest of these last few games like it's our last, And so I wouldn't be shocked if they pull the upset and beat Largo.
Yeah, because it probably will be their last for Northeast at least. And if Largo don't win, good chance for them as well. So we got Tarpon and golf. I like Tarpon to come out on this one. Going into the Lakewood game, I think that they know they need to win these next two. So I like Tarpon to come out guns a-blazing. I like the running game to pick up a little bit this week. What about you guys?
Yeah, this is a golf team that's been reeling. I mean, ever since that, really the Zephyr Hills game that they played, they just have not been a team that can put it all together. And that I think last couple games they've played, it's been bad bounces. So, and this is for the old timers. This was like a rivalry, I guess, back in the day. I don't really remember when golf and Tarpon were. I guess that speaks to like how young I am. Like I don't ever remember golf and Tarpon being rivals, but yeah, I'm gonna go Tarpon, I guess, in this old rivalry.
Okay. All right, and what about you, Gray? You like Tarpon?
Yeah, I like Tarpon. I think they'll find a way to get it done.
Okay, Lakewood versus Osceola Kissimmee, man. I haven't seen Osceola Kissimmee. Darian Combs a stud. I have seen that though. I know I seen that, man. I will stay null on this game. I'm gonna stay out of it. What you guys think? We got a minute and a half left. What you guys?
I ain't gonna stay out of it. I'm gonna say, send me Osceola. I'm sorry. It's gonna be multiple scores. I don't want to say 20s and 30s. I mean, I would imagine Lakewood will come out and give it their all. This seems too good. I mean, their run game is Tavion Swint he's a tough son of a gun. So Spartan's gonna have a tough night.
Yeah, I think this is a game that for the seniors for Lakewood, they try to put some good film on, get some good stuff on film so they can say, this is what I did against Osceola Kissimmee. You know what I'm saying? Look how I hit Swint. You know what I'm saying? Just some things like that to try to get some good stuff on film and then get ready for Tarpon Springs.
Hey, you know what? You never know, man. Hey, some things might come around. That Tarpon Lakewood game might be playoff implications. But Seminole, Indian Rocks, man, I like Seminole in this one. But it's gonna be close. I think it'll be like last week when they played Northside. But I like Seminole.
Let's
Fighting Sanchez's. Let's go.
Yeah,
All right, man. I'll holler at y'all next week, man. And we'll talk to y'all. Holler, man. Y'all be easy.
All right.
All right.